Let's go for a bicycle ride on a dirt trail where there are wildflowers growing. Let's pick some of those wildflowers and put them in a basket on the front of our bicycle. Maybe even get a loaf of bread. I don't know where that came from. It seems like I always see pictures of people riding bicycles with loaves of bread in the basket on the front of their bicycle. But not this one. Now this young lady is riding her bicycle and she's just picking flowers. I don't know if you can actually see the basket. I guess you can. I guess you can see it. So this is gouache paint, and it's in my journal. I can't wait to be done with the journal. Not that I'm not happy with it. I am happy with it, but it's almost finished. It's almost filled. I have like two pages left, and then I'll be done with the journal, and then I'll start one with watercolor paper in it. But I'll probably still use gouache. I'm really liking the gouache. This painting is a perfect example of why I like the gouache, because in this one, I painted the background first. Well, not the flowers, but just like the green and the dirt road. And I kind of liked it without the girl on the bicycle, but I had committed to the idea of a girl on the bicycle, and that, because it's so small. Let me show you how small it is. I'll put a ruler up against it. So let's see. How about that? So she's only 3 inches, and her face is only like 1/4 of an inch. So, I hope I didn't smear the paint. I think it's dry. But yeah, it was really tiny. I had to use tiny brushes for this one. But I'm happy with the results. You know what? You take risks when you do art. You say, can I pull this off? I don't know if I can pull it off. And the one thing is, if you're not happy with it when you're done, then you learn from it. You say, well, next time I might want to whatever. And in this case, next time I might want to do it bigger, like 16 by 20. I think this would be a nice, larger painting. And that's one of the cool things about doing a journal, or any small, just painting lots of small sketches and just working out all of the things that you want to work out in a small size. So then later, when you have a large painting, you can, you have a little more freedom, you know, it's a little easier to get some of the details into a larger painting. All right, enough talking. Let me show you how I painted this one right now. All right, let's get started. Let's just rough this in at first. How you doing? Boy, it was a nice day yesterday. Robin and I did a little video. I don't know if you saw it or not, but we talked about the children's books that we've worked on for the last 25, 30 years. Done a lot of them. You don't realize how many you've done until you try to talk about them. And the reason we were talking about them is because we were asked to put on some kind of I don't want to say a show, but some kind of a presentation, I guess you would say, to the people at the church. They're interested in learning how to do, or they're just interested in how we do the children's books, because they know we do children's books. And so they want to know, how do you do that and all that. And when they asked us to do it, I was thinking, well, how are we going to share that information? I mean, what are we going to do? We don't want to show ourselves writing. That doesn't seem interesting. And I certainly don't want to show myself illustrating a book. I mean, on Poppa Paints right here, it's a little different. I mean, you're artists, but can you imagine if you're not really an artist? I mean, let's say you go to church and you just can't wait for football. The last thing you want to do is sit and watch some artist showing you how he paints pictures. So anyway, we thought, well, what we'll do is we'll just show the books that we have done, and we'll talk a little bit about them. Maybe that'll be good enough. So that's what we did, and we did it on the video, kind of as a practice run. So that's why it's on Poppa Paints, in case you were wondering. Yeah, that was the idea, was to kind of just try it out with the camera running, and see what we like and what we don't like about how we made the presentation. So there you go. That's what happened there. But you know what? It was kind of an eye-opener for us too, because it's like, wow, we did all those books, and you know what else it was? And this is a great point for the artists. You realize how crappy you were in the past. I'm not lying. I looked at some of those old works and I thought, oh my gosh, I would never accept that nowadays. So, if it means anything to you at all, to know that everything gets, I don't know, everything changes, everything gets better, let's say, the more you do it. You know, I don't know if I ever told you I play accordion, but I do. I've been playing accordion since I was 8 years old. But you know, for a long time in my life, I didn't play it. And I played the guitar. I wanted something cooler. You know, the guitar is cooler than the accordion. So, but lately I've been playing it. I've been playing it for several years now. I mean, I came back to the accordion. Oh gosh, my mom died in 2012, and I think I bought I had an accordion when I was a kid, but I didn't have. I didn't have one for a while. Anyway, so I bought my first new accordion in a long time, before my mom died. And that was 2012. So what does that make it? 12, 13 years I've had this accordion. And what I like with the accordion, the music I like is the French ballads, like La Vie en Rose, and oh gosh, I can't even remember the names of them. But the French ones, I like the Italian ones. I like the polkas only like when I'm in that mood. Does that make sense? Like if there's like an Oktoberfest or something, then I like the polkas. Gosh, I'm having a hard time with my throat today. A little raspy. So whenever somebody asks me who my favorite teacher was, do you remember your favorite teacher? I do have some teachers from public school that I did like, so I don't want anybody who might have been a friend of mine back then to think I'm leaving out those teachers. But truthfully, when I think of who my favorite teacher was, it was my accordion teacher. Carl was his name. And Carl taught the accordion. Carl was from Italy, and Carl had a rich Italian accent. And every day, I am not exaggerating, every day, I think about music theory in a way that I learned it from Carl. And you might be asking, well, why? Why do you think of music theory? You do art. The answer is, I don't know. I don't know why those thoughts come to my mind, but they do. And so, yeah, Carl is my answer when somebody asks me who my favorite teacher was. Carl, my accordion teacher. And Carl used to, this is going to show you the difference in time from back then to now. After my accordion lesson, Carl would send me across the street to get him a coffee and a package of cigarettes. Yeah, he smoked. He smoked the whole time I'd be in my lesson, he'd be smoking a cigarette. Their times were different back then. So not only was a teacher smoking, but a student was asked to go pick up a pack of cigarettes. He'd, give me the money, of course. And I'd go across the street. And it was a big street, too. That's another thing. I think in today's world, you wouldn't send an 8-year-old across the street, a big street like that. But I crossed that street to get to my lesson, so it wasn't like I didn't cross it. I crossed it all the time. For those of you who know Long Island, especially Merrick and Belmore, the street was Jerusalem Avenue. And it's still a big street. But back then it wasn't bigger. It was just, I think it was unusual for children to be crossing the street without an adult. I guess, I don't know. I don't mean it was unusual back then. I mean it's unusual today. All right, let's get this fuzzy in the back. Get some dirty water on there. Get a little hint of blue in there, I guess, just to make us a little bit of a sky. A little hint. Using that water. Let's get some white in there. Very hazy. I want to put a hazy look back there. A little bit of green. There we go. All right, let's get some of the other colors. Get some more green here. Let me get some light, washed out green. Let's put it in the background here. Whoops, that's a little too washed out. Put a little bit of yellow in there. All right, let's see. Still a little bit too washed out, I think. I added a little bit of orange just to lessen the brilliance of the green. The brilliance of the green. Sounds like an epic novel. Maybe a tiny bit of darkness. Keep it very kind of mysterious a little bit. Very washed out. So would you take lessons when you were a kid with anything? A lot of kids took guitar lessons. A lot of girls took gymnastics lessons and ballet. And what else? Karate, martial arts. Oh yeah, martial arts were big. Yeah, a lot of kids took that. They would come to school with their Karate Kid outfits on and stuff. That was before the Karate Kid. But what else did we do when we were kids as far as lessons, things you went to learn, like special things you wanted to learn? I'm trying to think. What did my friends all go to? Because everybody didn't have music lessons. I was one of the rare ones, actually. I don't remember anybody giving art lessons when I was a kid. I don't remember that. So I'm going to say it didn't happen. Yeah, I'm going to say nobody gave art lessons. Well, except in schools, they did. I'll say that in school they probably did. Let me wash that out a little bit more. see. Well, there was the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and in those environments, you definitely learned some skills. Yeah. Knot tying. Oh my gosh. That seems like a given, doesn't it? Like if you learned how to tie a knot when you were a kid, you probably never forgot. You probably have taken that skill with you all your life. So who do you think? Who's your guy? Who's your lady? Who's the person who taught you something that you take with you everywhere you go? A lot of stuff. I don't want to leave out my mom and dad. A lot of stuff is from them. Oh my gosh, yes. Can't leave out your parents when you're thinking about your favorite teachers or your best teachers. Absolutely. Let me see, what did I learn from my parents that I can specifically tell you? Well, I learned how to tie my shoes from my father. I remember being a little kid, and he was teaching me how to tie my shoes. And for some reason, I thought it was funny. And I remember he yelled at me, "Don't laugh, stop laughing at everything." I guess I was a giggler. I was the giggle kid. I was the kid who giggled a lot. Yeah. My grandson giggles. I just thought about that. He does. Yeah. I gotta tell him. I gotta say, I used to do that too. I used to giggle all the time. Gosh. Maybe I should giggle more. What do you think? Think a 70-year-old man giggling is okay? Is it okay to giggle at 70? Oh, there's a title for you. Is it okay to giggle at 70? Well, I've never heard anybody ask that question. What do you think? Can you imagine going to I don't know, like one of these talks where there's a specialist in human behavior or something, and are there any questions from the audience? And then you say, yes. Is it okay for a 70-year-old man to giggle? Or how about, can you imagine if, at a press conference for the president, Mr. President, yes, I'll call on you. Mr. President, is it okay to giggle when you're 70 years old? Of course, if you ask that, it's going to be taken internally, like he's going to think you're talking about him. Right? All right, so never mind. Don't ask that question. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. You know what I used to think when we would talk about things? I would say, ask a congressman, what time is it? If you ever happen to bump into a congressman, like when you're in D.C. or something, or in your hometown, if you catch him walking down the steps of Congress or something, or the Capitol, say, excuse me, what time is it? And see if he'll give you the time of day, because you see, that's where you have an opportunity to say, he wouldn't give me the time of the day. And you could use that as a funny thing. Make a funny video. That would be viral. That probably would be viral. If you made a video of yourself walking up to, let's say, a famous congressperson or whatever, or a famous person of royalty, Prince Harry. I bet you Prince Harry would give you the time of the day. Why not? I bet you he would. If you said, hey, excuse me, Prince Harry, your Royal Highness, what time is it? he would look at his watch. Oh, I think I gotta remember to do that. I don't see famous people very often in public. In fact, the way I said that, it's as if I see them sometimes. I don't ever see them. I don't ever see famous people. I'm not saying I never have, but I mean, on a regular basis, I don't see him. Where would I see him? I live in Ocala, Florida. Maybe if you live in Hollywood, maybe you guys, you Hollywood kids, you get to see famous people all the time, do you? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm having fun with you today. Having fun. Are you having fun? Are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? If you're not having fun, then what's whatever the song is? How does it go? All right, I just keep working on this. So, okay, so what would you ask a famous person? Like if you bumped into somebody famous. In my town, this is Little Ocala, Florida, but we do have a very famous movie star who lives here. John Travolta lives here. I would consider him very famous. Everybody seems to know who he is. Where I grew up on Long Island, everybody knew Billy Joel and Harry Chapin. Yeah, everybody knew them. I never met either one of them. I didn't meet Harry Chapin, but I did meet Harry Chapin's brother, Stephen. I did, because Stephen came to Ocala to do a tribute for Harry. And guess who went to the airport to pick him up? I did. That was something, huh? That was an odd thing. And the reason I did is, well, if you know I worked in radio, that's the main reason, because I worked in radio. But he was coming to town. Do you remember a furniture manufacturer called Castro Convertible? Do you remember that? Well, the Castro family lived here in Ocala, and they're not here anymore. I think most of the older ones died, and I don't think any of them live here anymore, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, when they were alive, Mrs. Castro was a big theater buff. She loved the theater. She was from New York, and she loved the theater, and so she built a theater here. It's no longer standing. They tore it down. But she would have shows at her theater, plays and musicals and things like that. And she had something with Harry Chapin, I guess, early on, you know. And when he died, Harry's brother wanted to do a tribute to him, and so I guess he was going around the country touring with his tribute to his brother. And he was going to arrive at the airport, the Orlando airport, and they needed a driver to go pick him up and his band. And so they gave us a sedan and a limousine. And so I drove the sedan, not the limousine. And so when I got there, the famous ones, the Mr. Chapin and Big John, who played the bass guitar for Harry Chapin, they said, well, we ride in limousines all the time. Let the kids, I guess they had some other performers that were with them that were, you know, not famous and not seasoned and all that. And so they said, well, let them ride in the limousine. So the guy who drove the limousine got the kids who were newbies. Newbies, is that a good word? And I got to drive Harry. Not Harry, I mean Stephen. I got to drive Stephen. And the bass player, John, Big John. Yeah, I guess if your name is John, you're always going to be called Big John for some reason. It seems to be the way it is. So that was kind of cool. And then of course I got to see the show. And at that time I was playing music too. And so I was actually not the warm-up act, really. I had a partner back then by the name of Margaret. Back fact, this is before I was partners with Robin. But yeah, Margaret and I used to sing places. She had a beautiful voice too. So Margaret and I were the warm-up act for the Stephen Chapin tribute to his brother Harry show. Yeah. Yeah, that was something. So there's one famous Brush with Famous story that I have. Yeah, those were the days. I really thought I was going to work in music. I do work in music still. Like I say, I play the accordion, and that to me is a joy. It's a fun thing to do, and you know, when you're a kid and you play the accordion and the Beatles are the biggest thing on the planet, you're not the cool kid. Let me tell you something. I was not the cool kid. No, oh my gosh. I was probably the dorkiest kid. I mean, here I am at 70 years old painting pictures. Well, guess what? Back then, that's kind of what I did too. I painted pictures and played music. So yeah, I wasn't the cool kid. Did it bother me at all to not be the cool kid? Maybe sometimes. Gotta be totally honest. Maybe sometimes I kind of wished I was the cool kid, but I never was. Because the cool kids in the older years, like when you go into high school, junior high school, the cool kids are the ones who had girlfriends. There's that too. That whole thing, the boys that were cool, they were the ones who got the girlfriends. Yep. I guess that was an important thing back then. For all of us. Can you tell what I'm doing? I'm just creating a whole landscape here of colors of green, shades of green. And it's coming out nice. I kind of like the way it looks. So, yeah, I was the kid who drew pictures. But here's the thing. I wasn't the cool kid, right? But whenever somebody needed something painted or drawn, oh my gosh, then all of a sudden I was the cool kid. Well, I was the kid that came to. You know, that whole scene. That whole scene where everybody likes you as long as you have something they need. That whole scene. I'm not being cynical here. That's just the way the world is. And, but I did like the attention. When it came time to do things, I remember I was asked, I didn't have to, but I was asked to paint a 50-gallon drum to look like a beer can, and I did, of course, and it was so cool to do that because suddenly I was with the cool kids. It was for a parade. They were having a parade, and they on the float for the parade. They wanted a beer can, a big gigantic beer can. It was supposed to be Budweiser. I used Budweiser as my reference. I didn't even know the word reference photo back then, but that's what I did. And if you look at this, there were some photographs taken. So I'm not in the parade, but my can is in the parade. Isn't that funny? That's a funny thing to say. I wasn't in the parade, but my can was. Oh my gosh. And in the photographs from that day, talk about the cool kids, some of the cool girls were standing next to the beer can. So there I was, vicarious, is that word vicarious? Is that the word? Vicariously in the parade with the pretty girls. Yep, vicariously. Hey, now I'm with a pretty girl all the time. Robin is a beautiful, beautiful lady. in every way. She doesn't really realize how beautiful she is. But she is. In so many ways. She does everything for everybody. She helps everybody. She's always there. She's definitely there for me all the time. So you can see this brush is like really raggedy looking. I have really worked this brush out today. And I'm doing that on purpose because I want this to look grassy, and I'm going to keep working on it until it looks the way I want it to look. And then of course we got to put the girl in there. Is she a cool girl? I don't know. No, I think she's a friendly girl. We'll see. We'll see what she looks like when I'm done with the painting here. I'm purposely trying to keep the colors mixed like this. I don't want anything like super green. I want shades of green, shades of yellow, and shades of green. Let me go back over here now to this part of the woods. So if this was a larger painting, obviously I would, I might not use a larger brush. Everybody would tell me if I did a video of myself doing this painting as a larger painting and I was using this brush on, let's say, a 16 by 20 painting, I would have comments on the video to use a larger brush. And I would disagree, but also agree. Here's why. Because there is some truth to it. I mean, you don't have to do detail, especially in the beginning. You know, you don't have to worry about detail too much in the beginning. But sometimes, I think, this is just me, sometimes when you use a smaller brush, you see the progress of the painting happening slower. You can see where it's going. And even though the end result might be the same, you might see a mistake in the works. Does that make sense? So a mistake in the works, and you can, I don't know, change your mind about something. If you're doing a portrait of somebody, again, portraits are a different animal. So when I talk about painting, I'm really talking about impressionistic painting like I'm doing now, or just landscapes in general. You know, if you're trying to do an ultra realistic landscape painting, like Andrew Tischler, he's amazing. Andrew Tischler, by the way, if you've never looked at his videos, oh my gosh, he's in New Zealand. Isn't that amazing? We can watch somebody all the way around the world. But he's incredible. If you want to learn, just watch somebody who's very, very skilled at landscape painting. He is, and portraits. He's unbelievable with portraits also. Oh yes. Yeah, Andrew Tischler, T-I-S-H-L-E-R. If you want to look him up. All right, now I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to use not a larger brush, but a stiffer brush, just to kind of move this along, because I know what I want to do here. So I'm using this Payne's Gray very kind of liberally, mixing in some of the lighter greens to mix in there with them. So the trail right there, the dirt road, is starting to look more like a dirt road now because of the surrounding greenery. So the children's book, I want to get back to that. With the thing Rob and I did yesterday, I think we counted that we have written and illustrated 23 children's books. There are some books that I illustrated that we didn't write. Other people wrote them, and those were my assignments that I got paid for. The other ones we just published ourselves, and we do get paid for them, but we get paid when people buy them. But the other one, the ones that are assignments from a publisher, Robin has a relationship with a publisher, and so that once in a while that publisher will ask her to ask me to do a work on a project. And I do, of course. It's extra income for us. Speaking of income tax time is coming up. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think I like that system. I guess nobody does. I don't know. I mean, you have to have taxes, right? Otherwise, how are you going to have roads and all that stuff? Maybe there's a better way. You'd have to be smarter than me to understand it and to figure it out and to come up with a better way. So I won't even go there. I'll let the smarter people talk about that, because I'm not one of them. Each of us think we're smart, and we are smart in our own way, and in the things we need to be smart in, I guess that's a good way to say that. We're smart in the things we need to be smart in. Here we go. Oh, so much green. What would I like to learn? I was just thinking about being smart. Well, smart and educated is two different things, of course. But what would I like to be educated in? I'll tell you one thing I would like to be educated in. Can I tell you? I would like to be fluent in another language. I know little bits and pieces of Spanish and little bits and pieces of German, little bits and pieces of French. I don't know much of the Asian languages. I think I know the word konnichiwa, right? Ohio? Is that hello in Japanese? But see what I mean? I don't know much about that stuff. But I'd like to know more. Let me get some more. I might need more yellow paint on here. Yeah, let me get some more yellow. It's coming together. It's happening. Still got a way to go, but it's happening. I kind of like it just the way it is, like that. Do I want to put her in there? I'm thinking about putting a young lady riding a bicycle in there. take a dare. I'm gonna dare myself to do it. All right, I'm gonna take the dare. Take myself. Challenge myself. See if I can pull this off. Hope I don't ruin the painting. Okay. So let's see if I put her. Oh gosh. Here we go. Now I'm committed to it. Hope I don't make a mistake here. I hope this isn't a mistake. Let's see. Riding a bicycle. Forgive me for not talking right now. I have to focus. Okay, she's got to be backlit. She can't be frontlit. Frontlit's not going to work. Alright, let me get a smaller brush. That is too big of a brush. I gotta just get a small brush here. Kind of treating it like oil paint right now. The little dabs. Hear the birds outside? There's some little bird out there. I think the robins are coming back. The robins are heading back north. My robin, and the bird robin. Not to confuse the two, but my robin said yesterday that the robins were back. And I said to her, how does it feel to know that you can say your name and you're referring to something else? Like, I can't imagine a bird called the Poppa bird. Or the Larry bird. I can't imagine that. Alright, let me just keep working on her. I'll have to really get some darker tones on her face. There it goes, a little bit darker. Yeah, I can always add something later on. See, the gouache underneath it is reactivating, so it's peeking through. That's not a good thing. That's not necessarily what I want. So I kind of have to let this dry, I think. But I didn't want it to be as bright as it was. Okay, now let's take some of this and put it down here. I kind of wish I had a magnifying glass here. I think it'd be easier. All right, let's get her arms. She's riding her bicycle. There we go. Gotta let it dry. Put some white on here. See if that helps. Let's see if I can get her hair a little bit more defined. Okay, let's switch over to another little brush. Let's keep adding some of the shirt here. A little bit of highlight. There we go. A little bit of Payne's Gray, just to put some shadows on her shirt. There we go. Okay, let's get the bicycle handlebars. Here's the bicycle handlebars. I'm not so sure I like her arm like that. Maybe her arm should be more like this. And of course the fingers should be over the handlebars. Alright. Let's put that basket in there. Very small. Everything's very small right here. Alright, let's get that basket in there. Right there. Right in front of her. Is there a basket? It's almost an hour. I'm doing this almost an hour already. Well, I knew this was going to take some time. Okay, now I think the shadow of the bicycle of course. And into the grass. Yeah. So now we know what direction the sun is coming from. It's coming from the right. I didn't really have that established before, but now I have it established. Okay. Well, that works. And, geez, okay. That was a test right there. Okay. I'm gonna make some dappled light in the walkway and the trail also. So let's see. Everything is dry. Okay. All right, let's go for some. Let's first put some light in here. need some yellow, I think. And we'll take some of this yellow and brown, mix them together to create some dappled light on the trail. I think she should be a little bit darker too. I'm not sure. Not sure yet what to do with her. I feel like okay. Okay, let's put some of those wildflowers in there. Not a lot of yellow flowers here. And she picked some, see? That's why she's out here. She picked some and put them in her basket. That's her whole purpose of driving this bicycle on this country dirt lane. It's because she picked a lot of wildflowers. They were hanging out of her basket too. They're just all over her basket. And maybe she picked some purple ones. How about some blue ones? Where's some blue here? Let's put some blue in here, see if it looks good. How about some light blue? Yeah. Yeah, there's some light blue flowers in this mix. Don't know what they are. But she picked some of them too. She has some of the light blue flowers in there. I don't know what flower is blue, but we'll just make a place where there are some blue flowers. Maybe I can make them a little bit purplish. Or red, I guess red. Let's put some red flowers in her basket. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's get another small brush and add little wisps. Let me get another small brush. Gotta use a small brush a lot. How about that one? That one might work. It might not be small enough. I need a little brush. I think I have to use this one again. Clean it. I think we should call it done. Huh? What do you think? Whoa. It's a big piece of paint right there. Some really bright, close flowers. One thing that looks out of place is that little bit of white I put there. Probably should be more gray. And let me look at her face again. Her face. I think that looks a little better. I guess that's good enough. All right. Well, there's our bicycle ride on the Wildflower Trail, or something like that. Well, you know, if it was a bigger picture, and maybe it will be one day, but if it was bigger, it would have been easier to paint her face and to make it more obvious that there was a basket on the front of her bike. But it is what it is, right? We'll come back to it maybe in a bigger form. But right now, I think I'm done. All right, see you later. Bye.